What up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Santa Cruz Medicinals Radio, an AMA episode. Let me put on my chapstick. Beef tallow beeswax, man. Let's get into it. Just finished jiu-jitsu practice and then ate some of that protein fried rice that I posted the recipe on. Dude, so far, one of my favorite things about filming those recipes is we eat the food. So I had a big batch of that in my fridge, came back from jiu-jitsu. After just getting my ass whipped, oh my God, I'm tired, dude. We lifted weights the day before that hard, so I was already sore, and I'm like, should I skip jujitsu? Just being a little bit. So like, no, I'm not gonna skip jujitsu. I'm gonna go, and it was really fun. I feel amazing after all that training, and then refueling with some delicious, nutritious food. The dog treats are flying. They might be sold out by the time I publish this episode because they're like a really popular Christmas gift. But if you're looking for gifts for yourself or for others, electrolytes, an amazing stocking stuffer. We got the pre-feast enzymes, really good for digestive health, magnesium, potassium capsules, vitamin D. I'm not even going to turn this into a whole ad, but this is brought to you by Santa Cruz Paleo, so think about that. But yeah, we make amazing gifts too for this holiday season. It's been really fun lately, dude. Been traveling a bit. Went with my wife's family down to Mexico, got some good surfing in there, and stayed locked in while I was down there, dude. Just surfing, eating really well. Training, I went to jiu-jitsu out there, so like I stay locked in wherever I go. I'm not going to do some vacation where I completely crash out, because then when I came back here, I felt amazing. Like there's no lapse in that time. And I'm planning the next episode of Locked In. It's going to be insane. The next episode of Locked In is going to be legendary because we have a 15-acre estate with every single sport and activity on that estate in existence. There is pickleball, there is golf, there is soccer, there is baseball. I'm talking a full baseball field, a full soccer field, by the way, full pickleball and tennis courts. There is a pool, there is a gym, there is volleyball. There's everything. Everything in existence is there, and we're gonna put some teams to the test to see how locked in they truly are. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be funny. I just can't wait to launch that shit. So, yeah, working on filming that in the next couple weeks. Christmas is coming up. I'm going to be with the wife and her family and some of my family, just like doing the damn thing, doing the whole Christmas thing, but staying locked in, man. I mean, I feel like sometimes it's hard to deal with like those holidays. I mean, like I'm like busy during those holidays, because it just is the way it is now, man. I'm the guy now, so I'm like having to, organize a bunch of stuff, like make sure people are taken care of here, taken care of there, and it's kind of like I look forward to the holidays for sure, but it can be a little stressful. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about. I just don't want to get thrown too far off my routine. I like my routine. I'll say that. So, yeah, I've been super dialed in with that. We're working on some new formulas and we're going in depth. What I mean by that is like I've seen a lot of companies just rushing out products, and you can tell it's just some rushed out normal ass formula thing that they just launch. We don't do that. So a nootropic, for example, people have been saying launch a nootropic. Nootropics are supplements that benefit your brain and cognitive health, and I've been experimenting with nootropics for years. Now, what I could do is just take some alpha GPC, take some, good ingredients and just kind of throw it in there. And yeah, this is a good nootropic, and it would be cool. What I am doing is going in depth, and we're doing an actual full on study at UC Santa Barbara. Shout out to the bio department there. I know a couple people there. And what they're going to do is take this formula that we've dialed in a few different things, and they're going to test it on bio students while they wear an EEG machine, so we can actually monitor brain waves and see if this formula is really effective. From there, we might make tweaks to it. We might alter some stuff, or if it's very effective and gets to the results that we want, then we'll just launch there. So we're going more in depth with stuff is what I mean. The new protein flavors we are working on, we got the unflavored whey, and then we're also doing peanut butter cup. However, I really wanted organic peanut butter powder, as peanuts are oftentimes sprayed with pesticides. You got glyphosate, and this is maybe why there's so much alpha toxin contamination with peanut products. So I really wanted one that's organic peanut butter powder, and we will, send it in for lab tests for alpha toxin and all that stuff. So that's really important to me. I just don't want some BS, and I can rush stuff out, but I'm playing the long game, right? These brands playing the short game of let's run a bunch of ads and like trick people basically into buying their shit. Like, okay. Beef tallow. We sell beef tallow for $18 for this jar right here, and it's been selling out. It's extremely high quality, especially with the new machines that we have. And now you see so many people doing $40, $50, jars of tallow, cutting it with olive oil, coconut oil. You know what I mean? Selling $50 tallow that's whipped. That's tallow and air, by the way, guys. So we could take about half the amount of this tallow, whip it, and it would fill this jar. And I'm not against whipped tallow, but if we launch one, it'd probably be around $8, $10, something like that, because it's less product for you. So we just want to do things right. We're formulating a deodorant. I could just launch a deodorant again, but I want to do something that's insane, that's actually tested, and just goes through the rigors. So when it gets to you, it's a really, really solid product for a solid price, is my important thing. So, our electrolytes are cheaper than liquid IV per serving. We just have like amazing stuff, and I'm really stoked with what we've built. And we might not scale up as fast as other companies by running hella ads and launching a new product every single week, but we're doing our thing over here, and we have good products. But yeah, weight training's been going well. I feel like I've been lifting a good amount, training jiu-jitsu and surfing a good amount. The water's getting cold, but the waves are getting better. That's how it goes in California. If you know, you know. But you've been leaving your questions below. Let's get to them. There's some amazing questions. I've been seeing them. We're going to get to all of them right now. What do you got? Brendan, can you explain why you think seed oils are bad when they lower your cholesterol? When you see people talking about how they lower risk of heart disease because they lower LDL, isn't this a good thing? Why shouldn't we eat seed oils? So if you really look at my content, you'll see that I'm not as insane about seed oils as you might think. I clown on seed oils, I joke about seed oils, and I do think you should minimize your exposure to seed oils. And you will see doctors constantly on TikTok being like, no, you want to eat more seed oils because they lower LDL. Here's how this happens. Seed oils do lower LDL. And we, in this country and in the Western world, we believe that higher LDL is going to stop your heart, basically. If you have very high LDL, you are going to get a heart attack. Well, there are many people that dispute that, and there's also data to support that. Well, there's some people with low LDL that get heart attacks. There's some people that go their whole life with high LDL and never get heart attacks. And what I think will happen is in the next 10 to 20 years, we will find out that yes, high LDL is associated with an increased risk of heart disease, but there are also other factors at play. If maybe you have very slightly elevated LDL, but your C-reactive protein, your blood glucose, your HbA1c, and your VO2 max are all really dialed in, well, then maybe you're not at a really high risk of getting a heart attack. So to just say that anything that lowers LDL is good and you should get after that, I think is wrong. There was a guy who ate Oreos, a bunch of Oreos, to show that this experiment that he ran on himself, eating Oreos lowered his LDL, and it did. Eating a bunch of Oreos lowered his LDL. So should we tell people to eat a bunch of Oreos? No, that doesn't make sense, but it did lower his LDL, right? There was a man who ate 720 eggs. It was in a month. He ate 720 eggs in a month, and his LDL went down. Okay? There's all these extremes that lower LDL, and I don't think having a bunch of seed oils is the right thing to do. Here's why. Number one, if you look at Dr. Tetsumori Yamashima's research, he's a neurosurgeon. He gives lectures on this stuff. He's a very intelligent guy. He's written multiple papers. He thinks the heating of seed oils to high temperatures and the ingestion of those oils leads to Alzheimer's, leads to death of neurons in the brain. Okay, and you can read his research if you want. That's a little sketch, and maybe that's why so many people report getting headaches after they consume seed oils. I don't know. There was just research published recently. You've probably seen it making headlines, showing that these processed foods made with seed oils lead to a higher risk of colon cancer. We're seeing colon cancer skyrocket in the youth, and I do think these seed oils are part of that. Another thing that I really question, when they run a study on seed oils, are they using cold-pressed organic canola oil? Or are they using what is actually consumed by people when they eat seed oils, which is reused old soybean oil or canola oil in like a fryer basket? So yes, there could be some benefit of if you are saying, hey, I'm going to limit or eliminate seed oils, you definitely aren't going to eat as many processed foods. So that can be a good thing. At home, I'm using beef tallow, I'm using olive oil, I'm using coconut oil, I'm using butter, I'm using ghee, because I feel a lot better when I eat those fats. Do I freak out if I go to a restaurant and I have some seed oils? No. Do I think seed oils are even, up here on the top things you should look at when it comes to health? No, not at all. If you aren't exercising, eating real food, and taking care of your basic stuff with your health, your relationships, your, time you spend outdoors, your sleep, seed oils are going to be somewhere around here, okay? If we're talking about health and like a big picture, there's plenty of things you need to dial in way more than ingesting some canola oil or soybean oil. Would I recommend that somebody start throwing out their butter, their grass-fed butter or olive oil, and replace it with soybean or canola oil because it lowers your LDL? Absolutely not. And while the research does make that connection of Low LDL is great because high LDL equals heart disease. So, thus, you should ingest a bunch of seed oils to lower your LDL. I don't think that will be looked back on as truth. Science is supposed to constantly question everything. And I don't think that connection that we make right there will hold true over the next 10, 20 years. We might find that heart disease is a bit more complicated than just if you have ILDL, you're going to get heart disease. It doesn't quite make sense. I don't think you should be somebody that eats as much butter as you can or tries to raise your LDL to crazy levels, eating a bunch of saturated fat, but using it in normal amounts like I do. I probably eat a little bit more than normal amounts with the red meat that I eat, and I do cook with those animal fats. I feel amazing. My blood work is amazing. My LDL really isn't that high at all. I'll run my labs again in a week or two. It doesn't really get that high. I mean, I eat my fruits, I eat my veggies, I eat my fiber, I work out. I think there's many more important things. So yeah, if you feel great eating seed oils, maybe you even feel better when you eat seed oils, go for it. If you feel like you get some headaches, you get some, skin issues when you eat seed oils, you might want to try something else out. That's what I think. Brendan, why don't you release unsweetened electrolytes? Maybe they just don't like the sort of sweet flavor, sweet and salty flavor that these have. We are going to do that. We're going to launch electrolyte capsules. So these will have no stevia whatsoever, no flavor, basically nothing but electrolytes in there. So I'm really stoked to launch those. They should be out by February. I think they're getting made next week, but it takes a while to make our products and then, set them aside, quarantine them, do all these tests, get them to Amazon. It takes a little while. So because it's the holiday season coming up and, we're not going to have people working over the holidays, obviously, I'm expecting maybe by February, those electrolyte capsules will be out. They'll be the same price, same serving as the electrolytes. And they're really good for like on-the-go use. Like boom, you just pop a little electrolyte capsule. We pop, I think, 2 of these pills, and absolutely amazing. Super stoked on those. Brendan, why should I quit soda for 30 days? If you were to write like a persuasive essay or try to convince a class of unhealthy college kids of why they should quit soda, what would you tell them? Okay, yes. Well, first of all, we see that a lot of high fructose corn syrup ingestion, which these sodas do have, can start to alter your gut microbiome and really mess with your food cravings. So your gut microbiome is basically going to start to learn that it's craving that high fructose corn syrup. It gets used to it. So then you crave more sugar, creating this negative cycle. We also see that when you drink your calories, you can put on weight extremely easily. If you even go back to like when they used to have the fattest man in the world at a circus, it really looked like kind of like an NFL lineman today. Now we have these people putting on 600, 700, 800 pounds. I think there was a dude who was over 1,000 pounds. You don't get to that without being able to break your system with drinking calories and drinking sugar. We see worse skin health with a lot of high fructose corn syrup ingestion. We see worse brain health. So if you want to just be like a worse version of yourself, then you should drink soda. If you want to be a better version of yourself, you should quit soda. And that's really what it is, man. So it's your life, there's losers and winners in life. And, if you want to be a complete loser, go for it. Brendan, are Zins that bad, bro? I only have 2 to 3 per day when I want to dial in and focus for work. So you're basically running an experiment on yourself is what you're doing. We don't have any long-term data about what nicotine ingestion, especially 2 to 3 times per day orally, is going to do to your health. Now, we do see a rise in colon cancer, and we do see some cell culture studies showing that even just nicotine, not tobacco, not all that, just nicotine, shows the proliferation of oral and colon cancer cells. That's not good. Do you really want to risk that just for a little bit of dialing in? Why don't you just try some stack of nootropics? Like take a little bit of alpha GPC, some Bacopa, maybe a little bit of caffeine, some L-theanine, something like that. Stuff that's been researched, stuff that's been used forever, stuff that is, extracted from food or herbs oftentimes. You're running just an experiment on yourself. Not to mention there are artificial sweeteners in those little packets. There's preservatives. You're basically just, sucking on a science experiment, bro. Good luck. How has this played out with these tobacco companies? And I know there's no tobacco in there. It's just nicotine. How has this played out? Really? Can you think of one good example? The doctors used to recommend cigarettes for a quick pick-me-up. How did that play out? The vapes. Oh, no, this is better because it's just vaping. Oh, it's less of a temperature. How did that play out? Do you really, genuinely think you will be watching this video in 10 to 15 years and they will be like, yeah, those Zins, it turns out those are just totally fine. You could have a couple of them per day and nothing's going to happen. No rise in colon cancer, no rise in oral cancer. No. They're totally good. And actually, everybody should use them for a quick pick-me-up. That is not what is going to happen. So it's your body, your choice, man. But if you want to maybe have to get your jaw removed or part of your colon removed, that's on you. Brendan, I have acid reflux. I don't want to take the PPIs. What should I do? So, I don't know personally what you should do, but I did sit down with a functional medicine doctor here and we did talk about acid reflux in depth. What he does for a lot of his people that have acid reflux is he actually puts them on enzymes. So, he puts them on a broad spectrum digestive enzyme, much like ours are pre-feast enzymes. And there's going to be stuff like pepsin, which is going to help your digestive enzyme function. We have stuff like ginger, papain, bromelain, these enzymes that are going to help break down your food, your starches, your carbohydrates, stuff like lactase in there, which helps digest lactose. And then he also puts them on something called betaine HCl. Oftentimes you'll see betaine HCl paired with pepsin, which is an enzyme that we have in there. But betaine HCl is going to increase your HCl, which is your stomach acid, your hydrochloric acid. This is going to help break down your food. It's estimated that our ancestors, our Homo sapien ancestors, even just, 1,000, 2,000 years ago, had much higher stomach acid than we do today. Now, people talk about this acid alkaline thing, and, there's some validity to that occasionally, but you don't want your actual gut to be alkaline. You want it to be acidic. This is going to help you break down food. This is going to help prevent against food poisoning and stuff like that. This is why a lot of people in indigenous cultures can eat stuff that might make us sick today. Higher stomach acid. Stuff that can deplete your stomach acid, antibiotic use, alcohol use, stress, age. We see lower enzyme production happening. So it's very counterintuitive, but it's such a trip. Like when we talk to these functional medicine doctors, they're like, I will put somebody with acid reflux on betaine HCl and on enzymes, and it's actually increasing their acid rate, but it actually decreases that indigestion acid reflux. So it's very counterintuitive, but if you talk to somebody like Dr. Justin or Dr. Evan, and they will be like, PPIs is actually the opposite thing that they would want to do. So you might want to go down that route, that route, but like, if you go the PPI route, I mean, I don't know. I've seen people go down that route and just not get fixed at all, and they just rely on these things forever. With enzymes, you could do like a big course of enzymes like I did. I did like betaine HCl, like a lot of these, a lot of enzymes. And now what I do is I just take these, like maybe one before I eat a big meal. When I go out to eat, I'll pop two. Like I'm just going to take them here. If I'm stressed and I got to sit down and eat in a rush, I'll take two. Just kind of take them here and there. And because now my gut is fixed. So that worked for me. You got to kind of figure out your own route, but there's some info. Brennan, what would you do if you crashed out, ate some bad food, heavy and, just stuff that I wouldn't eat, a bunch of seed oils, bunch of sugar, and you felt like crap? How would you sort of reset your gut? So, I mean, I don't really do that often anymore, but like, let's say I was in Mexico not too long ago and I, ate some tacos that I'm sure were cooked in seed oils. What do I do? First thing, I'm taking enzymes while I eat that food. That's so easy to do. I just put a few in my pocket. If I know I'm going to be eating food that might not be that dialed in, I'm going to take some of those enzymes. So it's going to help my body digest that stuff right there. The second thing I would do is not overeat after that. So you've eaten that food. Actually give your body and stomach acid the chance to digest that food. If I immediately went and just tried to eat something else, it just would worsen the problem, okay? And then there's some other tools. You can go high dose ginger. You can go glutamine for that gut barrier function. You can go marshmallow root extract. Yes, that's a thing. That's going to help that mucosal layer of the gut that might have gotten damaged from your complete crash out, whatever happened. Right before you go to bed, you could go with some activated charcoal, which is often used as a detoxifying agent. So that's a really good thing right there. Dr. Evan makes a product called Aura Roots Detox Pro. There's some activated charcoal in there, some clay, some other good compounds. I have that in case I ever get, exposed to some food that I don't want to eat. I'm going to be taking my magnesium. And yeah, that's it, man. You're going to be totally fine. The body is very resilient. However, again, I don't feel good when I eat bad food, so I just don't eat bad food. I like to feel good, It's pretty easy for me to do, but I understand for some people, they'll have those moments where they eat that bullshit and they feel it. So that's a little protocol right there that I would do. Brennan, what are your thoughts on colostrum supplementation for teenagers? Well, overall, I won't even speak to just teenagers. I'm just a huge fan of colostrum in general. So colostrum is going to be that first milk that's, very rich in lactoferrin, some of these IGF elevating compounds, immune beneficial compounds. It's going to be really beneficial for your gut. Colostrum is a whole industry now. People just selling colostrum supplements, and for good reason. We have colostrum in our food of the gods. We have grass-fed, grass-finished colostrum in there. And the reason that I threw that in there is for some of those immune system and gut benefits. I am a fan of colostrum. I don't think you need to go out and spend an insane amount of money now that colostrum is this big industry. People are, popping up left and right saying they have the best colostrum, this, that. I don't think you need to go crazy with it, but if you take some colostrum, you're probably going to experience some better gut and immune health. So overall, I am a fan of it. Brennan, can we ever expect a Santa Cruz Paleo Omega-3 supplement? I know you said it's hard to source and this and that. Yeah, I mean, the honest truth is probably not. Like, I could make a lot of money selling any omega-3 supplement and just like finding a decent source, but I really haven't found that source yet. Because in my mind, what you need to do is get to the actual like fishery, right? And so they would be pulling in some type of wild fish. I'd probably want it to be a smaller fish, so it's not going to be rich in mercury. And then they would have to pull that fish. They would have to get the fish oil, get the omega-3 fatty acids, cold process it, bottle it up in glass, encapsulate it, keep it fully cold storage, and then get it to you somehow. If they don't do that, let's say it's August, bro, and you're sending that stuff in a shipment truck to a warehouse, and it's gonna sit at 110 degrees for weeks. Other supplements can handle that, bro. Like they really can. Fish oil can't. So I'm very skeptical about a lot of the fish oils out there. If you guys know any brand that's like crushing it like that, let me know. I'd love to talk to some of them and like see if there's some type of partnership. But like we can't just make fish oil. Well, we could make fish oil in our factory, but I wouldn't be able to stand behind it, and it wouldn't be something that I would use and be confident about because I know that like you need to have this really dialed in system for fish oil, and like we're just not gonna have that at Santa Cruz Paleo. We're not gonna pull fish out of the ocean, and like that's just not what we're gonna do. So if there's somebody doing that, let me know. Omega 3s are great, and there are good studies on omega 3s, but I worry about some of the supplements out there and the quality and the oxidation of those omega 3 fatty acids. Brendan, I'm going to college and I want to start to learn about the body, start to learn about health. What classes should I take? What should I do? Well, there's a bunch of different things you can do. You can go bio and you could go the biology route. You could even go pre med. However, a lot of the people that I've met actually, we've talked to some MDs that went to medical school and everything, but the simple fact is right now, if you're going to go nutrition, the stuff you would learn in medical school, or even if you get your master's in nutrition, we had a MS, master's of science here, sitting here, and he's like, dude, the school is a joke. You literally have to fill out like, hey, like seed oils are good, eat a bunch of wheat. It's just backwards. And if you, for some reason, didn't do that or didn't go with that, then you wouldn't get your degree. So it is kind of backwards. And a lot of people will clown on like, chiropractors and stuff, but a lot of those people simply go and get their chiropractic license so they can practice basically giving people lab tests and giving them supplements and like giving them like protocols and stuff like that. Because in a lot of states, you need that like actual like doctorate to be able to do that. So like a lot of people will do that. It really depends on what you want to do. I do think changing the system from within is great. So if you went bio and then pre med and then you know just sat in that system and then created your own thing. We see Dr. Hotch is a guy on Instagram who went through all that, and now he lives like I do. We talk all the time. He's like eating eggs and lifting weights, and he's like, dude, like all the stuff I learned in medical school was complete bullshit when it comes to nutrition. So that's kind of cool to see people fight it from within. If you want to learn about the history of human beings and where we came from and all that, you can look into medical anthropology. That's what you would want to look towards. There's some really cool stuff you can do there. Like, there's tons of opportunity there. This dude just texted me, Brennan, why don't you go like live with different tribes and see how they eat and like do like that's like what anthropologists do. That's like kind of what I thought I would be doing when I was getting my major at UC Santa Cruz. I'm like, damn, like because there was people like post grads and stuff would go out from UC Santa Cruz like on you know like a fellowship, and they would get like sponsored by the school, and they would go to like Africa and live with the Maasai, and it's pretty dope. I don't have the time to be doing all that right now, but that would be really cool, and that'd be insane content, dude. If you went and you got your degree in medical anthro or bio or something, then you started to go and like live with some of these tribes, dude, that'd be sick. I think that would go viral. There's an idea for you right there. Brendan, I've heard you tell people to avoid eating chocolate in the evening because the theobromine in there can be sort of stimulating. Would this apply to your chocolate protein powder as well? Yes. And I actually broke this rule, bro, not too long ago because I made a big protein hot chocolate and it was like 8 p.m. I was just craving it, bro. We've been sipping these protein hot chocolates. It's been getting a little colder. Dude, you get out of the surf, man. You go catch some waves. I paddled out with Austin like a few days ago, and it was pretty big surf for us, bro. It was like 6, 7 foot. The paddle out was exhausting. We both made it out. And we were like, bro, if another set came in, we would have just like paddle in. Like that shit was tiring. It was cold. It was like a sunset surf. We were catching hella good waves, getting eaten up out there, and it was fun. And then I get home, I tell my wife, fire up the sauna, and I'm like, I need a protein hot chocolate. It's a little late for it. Whatever. Fire up a big protein hot chocolate. So good. And my Oura ring, I wear the Oura ring and it shows my sleep scores. I'm always, 80, 90, whatever. And that night was like 75. And I think it was because I had that chocolate. It might not let my body go into as deep stages of REM sleep because I have that theobromine. So yes, that does apply to our chocolate whey protein. I'd love to bullshit and tell you, oh no, you drink as much of our protein as you can, buy more. But the truth is, if you're gonna have an evening protein shake, I would go strawberry or vanilla. For some people, they're gonna be a little bit less sensitive to that theobromine, and obviously, it's not gonna completely knock you off, your sleep schedule. But yeah, right before bed, if you can, I would not be having that Honey Mama's chocolate, having that chocolate protein shake. I know people like to have chocolate for dessert at night, but theobromine is a little stimulating. Try to stick to the afternoon or midday. Brennan, I always get sinus infections and sore throats. How would you fix this? Okay, so I definitely get on a supplement called N-acetylcysteine. I'd probably be taking 500 milligrams to 1,000 milligrams of N-acetylcysteine is what I would do. I probably would supplement with vitamin C if I were you. Personally, I just eat a lot of vitamin C rich foods. I do take some vitamin C occasionally. You should get on a zinc copper blend supplement. You don't just want to take a bunch of zinc. I see so many people doing this, man. Like they're just taking 30, 40 milligrams of zinc because they heard it's good. That's going to throw off your copper. Zinc and copper have a relationship with each other, just like, arginine, citrulline, and lysine have a relationship with each other, just like magnesium and potassium have a relationship with each other. Zinc and copper do also in the body, so you want to be careful with that. As far as like other stuff you can do, you can get a xylitol oregano spray. If you look up some of these natural nose sprays, they're really cool. I think my wife got one that's like xylitol, colloidal silver, oregano, grapeseed extract, something like that. And if I do feel a little something coming on, boom, I'll go up there and spray some in the nose, and that's really going to help. Throat coat tea made by that brand that pop up here, whatever it is, throat coat tea, dude. Just like it's in Whole Foods. It's gonna have that marshmallow root in there. It's gonna have that eucalyptus in there. That is actually a really good option. Um, Folks like Dr. Justin will recommend like taking oregano the moment you notice that you're getting sick, taking some of that oregano, cranking up that vitamin D. Dr. Justin will literally recommend people taking like 50,000 IUs of vitamin D when they first feel themselves getting sick. I haven't gone that crazy with it, but guarantee you, if my throat starts hurting, I'm taking like 3 or 4 of these just based off that recommendation of his. Um, so yeah, those are some things that I would do if you start getting hit with that sore throat. And yeah, hope that helps. Brendan, what do you know about dreams? I've been having dreams where I wake up and he's having like violent dreams, this dude says. He said he woke up one time and his hand was bloody from punching the wall. Brother, you need some serious help. No, okay, we're going to get into it, man. Here's what you want to look at. So there's something called a Dutch test that you can do to see what your cortisol rhythms are throughout the day. I see a lot of people probably have really high cortisol towards the end of the day, and this is going to lead to obviously like insomnia and stuff, but even when you go to sleep, if your cortisol's out of whack, you could really negatively like affect your REM cycles and probably have some like bad dreams. There are compounds you can take to sort of relax yourself in the evening. L-theanine is going to be one of the most popular ones. It's available everywhere. That's a compound that's very safe, a couple hundred milligrams, 200, 300 milligrams in the evening. Very, very safe. L-theanine's relaxing. Lemon balm, I'm a huge fan of that. Passion flower, huge fan. Valerian, huge fan. You can get GABA supplements. That's a good one. Kava makes me feel weird, but for some people it works really well. These are going to start to wind you down and can maybe help against some of those nightmares you've been having. Meditation is the other key thing. I've posted before, I do a 10-minute meditation. It's free on YouTube. Yoga relaxation pose meditation, I think is what it is, by like the philosophy YouTube. I don't what you'll find it, man. You guys are smart. And yeah, I lie down, I do that meditation. And I try to do that like 6 nights per week. And if I ever miss it, like I definitely feel my sleep gets a little bit impaired. You want to be going to bed in a rest and relaxed state. So you're not waking up and punching the wall, brother. And if it gets deeper than that, yeah, if you're, over the age 18, you might need to eat some mushrooms and venture into the forest and find yourself. Brendan, I understand artificial fragrances are bad for me, but I still want to use cologne to smell good. What do you suggest? So I see a lot of young people just spraying these colognes all over themselves, and they're going to be filled with artificial fragrances, parabens, and just toxic compounds that can negatively affect your health. These can give you headaches, these can give you lung issues. And I understand some people want to wear the colognes, man. It's like a really popular thing right now. Oh, I got the YSL cologne. Oh, I got the this one. I got that cologne. I collect them. I'm cologne boy. It's like, cool, man. Do your thing, man. If that's what you like, this is the United States of America, man. I guess you can do whatever you want. These companies don't have to disclose anything that's in there. You really don't know what's in there. And we do see that the skin is very absorbent. If you don't believe this, go put some LSD on your skin and see what the next 3 days is like for you. Okay. Yeah, your skin absorbs stuff. It definitely does. If you don't believe that, I don't know what to tell you. I guess what I would suggest is just wear it sparingly and spray it on your clothes rather than your skin. I know that's not the right way to use cologne, but that is probably what I would do. I'm still looking out there for like natural cologne brands. If anybody's like, anybody knows one. I know there's this dude who actually, I know from back in the day, who started a company called Olatura, and Olatura makes an actual natural cologne. I've never tried it, bro. So I don't know like how that is. But personally, I would not be spraying, Aqua de Jo and this, mystery artificial fragrance on my skin every day. I think that'd be a horrible idea for health, personally. Bro, I did not know people are not pooping. Like, this is insane, bro. There's many people who don't poop. How often are you guys pooping? Okay, there's people who don't poop. Like, it takes them 3-4 days in between poops. That is not healthy at all. All the doctors we have talked to here that are experts in this stuff say you should be pooping at least once per day. Once per day, great. Usually when you wake up after you hydrate, that's when it should start to hit you. And if you're not, here's what you need to do. First of all, you need to be taking magnesium. You need to get a few hundred milligrams of magnesium. And if you get it in through your diet, that's great. I think it's pretty difficult to get in completely through your diet. I take 2 of these every single day, okay? Digestive enzymes, okay? If your enzyme function is all messed up, you're not going to be fully digesting your food, take some enzymes. But more important than all of that is just your diet overall. You need to be getting in enough fiber. Fiber is good. I like to eat potatoes almost every single day. I'm eating some sweet potatoes. I'm eating some other potatoes. This is going to be really good for my gut. I'm getting some fermented foods. And what does this mean? Greek yogurt, fermented veggies. These are going to help your gut microbiome and actually help your body digest food and basically move it through your ileum, through your GI tract, and down and out, man. You need to be excreting stuff. This is how your body detoxifies. So you definitely need to be eating enough fiber. Veggies are great. Fruit is absolutely amazing. I think a very simple thing for many people who are like, oh, I can't poop. Bro, increase the amount of fruit a little bit, increase your hydration, increase a little, add a sweet potato every single day, and I guarantee stuff will get moving. You should be, excreting once per day. Probably in the morning after you wake up. Boom, electrolytes, hydration, and you should feel that. If you aren't, that is a sign something is off. It is not normal to poop every 4 days. This is insane. I can't believe like this is happening. What is going on with people where they don't even, oh yeah, it's normal. What are you talking about? It is not normal at all. If this is happening to you, let me know how many times you're going per week, per day. It should be once per day. Maybe if you're eating a lot of food, bulking, maybe twice per day. Let me know, guys. That's crazy. Brendan, what are your thoughts on ginseng powder? I'm actually a huge fan of ginseng. It's something I've been experimenting with a lot lately. We don't sell ginseng, so I'll just put you onto this. There's some good brands out there. Thorne makes one where it's ginseng and some lion's mane in there. There's basically these compounds called ginsenosides, and they can help your cognitive function. They've been shown to have anti-inflammatory effects. This functions like an adaptogen. Again, a lot of the functional medicine doctors I've talked to will prescribe ginseng to take in the morning and afternoon to just give your body like a boost. So I'm a huge fan of it. And there's some good PubMed research papers on ginseng. You probably want to take, 100, 200 milligrams, see how that feels. I know people take as much as like 500 milligrams per day. I'm a fan of ginseng, bro. Okay. So it's been used forever. If you really go back into that Chinese medicine, they knew their shit, man. And ginseng was one of the compounds that they used. I'm a fan of it. Have you ever tried it? Let me know below. Brendan, what are your thoughts on carbohydrates as a natural energy source? Your electrolytes don't have carbs. What do you think about carbs overall? Yeah, the simple answer is carbohydrates are great for athletes. If you are active, you should be eating carbs. I eat a lot of carbohydrates. I love carbs. Sometimes before I work out, I'll have some coconut water, I'll have some honey, I'll have a piece of fruit, and I'm getting my carbohydrates through that. Now, why don't our electrolytes have a bunch of sugar in them or carbs? Well, I think people should be able to regulate their own carbohydrate levels. I think giving everyone something like Gatorade, which has a bunch of sugar in it, and telling them to drink this is dumb. Why? Because for the person trying to cut weight, maybe they're in a cut, which is, dude, let's be real. 74% of people are overweight. Most people are going to the gym with the intention of working out, having some fun, and also losing some weight. To tell those people to chug carbohydrates while they are working out is oftentimes dumb, okay? Now, let's bring in another example. We just went to jujitsu, okay? There's some elite athletes there that train multiple times per day. They're in extremely good shape. They're competing for worlds, all that. Yeah, it's totally fine for them to throw that in some coconut water, throw in some honey in there, throw this in some orange juice, whatever it is, and have some carbs. But also, this whole idea of like you need to eat carbs right before you work out. Well, there's very like, if you're running a marathon, if you're, some intense athlete, sure, there's some, minutia there. However, for most people, if you're just like trying to lift weights and do some normal workouts and get after it, you realize there's something called carbohydrate backloading, where the night before you can have a big meal with some sweet potatoes, some rice, a good amount of carbohydrates. And if you wake up the next morning and you don't have any carbs, you have some eggs, some whatever it is, protein shake, you drink some electrolytes, go to the gym, your body will tap into that fuel source. It's not like your body just forgets that you had carbs, 12 hours before and it has no idea what to do and it's just going to completely, conk out. No, that's not how it works. However, yes, I do love carbs. You will see me having some honey, some fruit, throwing these in some coconut water. I'm a fan of that. I know people experiment around with D-ribose lately. That's interesting. I think that's all good. I just genuinely think for most people, hey, you're 20, 30 pounds overweight. You're going to the gym to lift some weights. Let me drink 50 grams of carbohydrates before I go do that. You probably don't need that, and you should probably be tapping into the sources of fuel that your body already has going in it and burn some of those, okay? So, yeah, that's kind of what I think about it. But, yeah, eat your carbs, bro. Rice, potatoes, veggies have a little bit of carbs, honey, maple syrup, coconut water, fruit juices if you're really, cranking through a lot of energy. All good to me. All right, guys, that is it for this week's AMA episode, Santa Cruz Medicinals Radio. We've been crushing it over here lately, man. Just completely changing the world, changing people's health. That's what we're trying to do, and we're just trying to keep it real, man. So we love you guys so much. We are running a Christmas deal on the website, 15% off santacruzpaleo.com. Use the code SANTA. That's going to end December 27th, so you better get on that soon. Code SANTA. Go save on the website. Get some enzymes. Get some electrolytes. Hey, if they're still in stock, get your dog some treats. Get some natural pre-workout. Scoop of this before you go work out. You'll get insane pumps. And just stay healthy. Stay stoked. I love you. Keep going.